All right, thank you very much for the invitation. Let's see if I can work out the direction here. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to talk about what the face and voice reveal. So this idea about developing a diagnostic aid for depression. It's a collaboration project, and that's sort of, I think, why I've been invited here, where we have a number of partners from the University of Canberra, the Black Dog Institute, which is a clinical research institute in Sydney, the University of New South Wales, the ANU, and the Queensland Institute of Medical Research. But more than just the collaboration of partners in there, it's actually this idea that we bring different people together. So we're bringing clinicians together, psychologists, psychiatrists, computer scientists, neurologists, neuroscientists, engineers, and so on. So hopefully by the end of this talk, I will have convinced you that so many of today's problems are actually interdisciplinary. And to solve them, we need to bring these people together. Okay, what's the motivation then? Well, depression and other mood disorders are very common and very disabling disorders. And they do have not only a major impact on the individual sufferers and their families and friends, but actually on the society as well, in terms of economical terms, in terms of absenteeism, days missed at work, and so on. If we look at the World Health Organization, they came up over the last 20 years, roughly speaking, with a number of so-called global burden of disease reports, which show that actually depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. And the latest figures from 2012 suggest that there's about 350 million sufferers worldwide. Perhaps saddening, less than half of those actually receive any kind of adequate health care or have access to that. If we look at the lifetime risk, so what are the chances that over the lifetime of you around here, of anyone around, basically, we have it's estimated to be at least 15%, so roughly every seventh person. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Your chances are that you will have depression at some point in your life. We have about 180 suicides per month, not per year, per month, in Australia related just to depression, not suicides overall, just to depression. Australia also has one of the highest rates of youth suicide that is attributed to depression in the developed world, which is very scary. And a personal story to that, I've actually had a very close friend from my high school days who took his own life due to depression and so on. And we often talk about in academia that we often pick our research areas based through some personal connection or actually areas where we feel inferior. So I do a lot of, as we will see, a lot of vision-based research, and well, as you can see, my eyesight isn't the greatest. And I also do a lot of work in human-computer interaction or interaction in general. And I'm a computer scientist, so probably my social skills and interactive skills are not the best either. So maybe there's some truth to that story. So the interesting thing is that despite this high prevalence and enormous burden, there's, in terms of clinical practice, it very heavily relies, and we can say almost exclusively, on just very subjective opinions of the clinicians. So where we're coming in now is we're saying developing this affective sensing technology, so technology about emotion recognition, mood recognition, that is a diagnostic aid to assist the clinicians. So very similar to that to the skincare app. It's not about replacing the doctors; it's about helping them. Now, if you go to your GP and you want to know your blood pressure, well, it's normal that we have a blood pressure monitor. You would feel very strange if you went to your doctor and he said, "Yeah, let me just talk to you." Yeah, looks like it's about 120/80 today. You was like, gee, how did you come up with that? Well, that's of the situation in mental health care. So how does it work? What we do is, we sort of have a bit of a screen here where we place people in front of a computer screen and we show them movies, we show them images that have been rated beforehand to elicit certain emotions in people not suffering from depression. And we also interview them, so there's an interactive part of them, and both about sort of positive and negative experience. Tell me about a particular sad experience in your life. Tell me a bit about a particular happy experience in your life. And we then look for their involuntary responses, and we kind of compare that between the groups of healthy and non-healthy people. So, Bill Cosby shows, it's a bit dark here, but Silence of the Lambs, scary movies, and so on. So we send them on a roller coaster ride on positive and negative emotions. So let's do a little test here with you guys. Can you identify these facial expressions for me? So what's happening here? All right. Well, actually, funny enough, they're about to sneeze. But I do like your way of thinking, so thank you. Which puts a very important point. For actually any of this kind of analysis, we need to understand the context in which these recordings are made. Okay, so All right, so here's a view of our tool that we've developed where we can characterize facial movements, and you might be able to see those little dots on the face there, so automatically track the facial movements as they happen. And we have sort of a color-coded bar at the bottom there that tells you about positive and negative emotions, so psychologists can very quickly get an idea of what's going on, and we can analyze that further of what happens. So we can actually look at the amount of facial movements, their expression, the amount of expressions, their repertoire, facial expressions, and so on. And as we can see on the sort of right-hand side, the details don't matter here, but it's basically not every movie works well enough, but we can sort of show differences in how people react involuntarily. So as they're watching, nothing else they need to do. And we combine that with voice analysis, and we get 92% correct execution. And that's basically all there is to it. So we're currently at the end of stage 1, and we're looking forward to stage 2 and stage 3 of this research. Thank you.